How did you learn that your friend, Michelle, had type 1 diabetes?
I think it started, we were always eating meals together in the dining hall, and I noticed that she was injecting, I guess something before meals, and finally someone must have mentioned it, and she just kind of casually was like, oh yeah, I'm diabetic, and I have to inject insulin before I eat and check my blood sugar and everything pretty often. So it was something we noticed but didn't talk about at first.
What did she tell you about her diabetes when you first talked about it?
When we first talked about it, I remember kind of specifically looking back through her old Facebook pictures, and she had lost a lot of weight right before she was diagnosed, and so that was kind of the first time we seriously talked about it. She's like, yeah, it's funny looking back at these pictures because at the time I didn't realize how sick I was, and now I can clearly see I was like a skeleton at that time. And she was always, she was very calm about it and very willing to talk about it if you ask. And she knows a lot, and I've never had a friend who was diabetic or had anything similar where she has to constantly be checking her blood sugar and being careful with her insulin and everything, but she was willing to talk about it always.
How did having a friend with diabetes change your college experience?
It may have changed it a little bit. It was just a little something extra to think about, but I think her demeanor was always so calm that she never pressured us to be worried about her any extra or anything. So maybe in the back of my mind, but nothing too important on my mind.
What did you know about diabetes before you met Michelle?
I didn't really know anything about diabetes. I guess I knew the general idea, the taking insulin and everything, but I had never had anyone close to me. And I guess seeing her injecting with needles all the time was a little surprising. I didn't realize how involved it was to be taking blood and checking and everything. So it was interesting for me to see someone my age handling such a big thing so calmly.
What have you learned from being friends with Michelle?
I've always been really impressed with Michelle and how well she handles it. It's a huge responsibility to have something like your whole health constantly being tracked. It's kind of inspiring to see that someone who I've seen be not so mature all the time, but knowing in the back of my mind that she is very mature and has been taking care of herself very well with this big disease for a couple of years now. And I've seen her go through different machines. She's had something hooked on her hip for a while. She changes how she checks her blood sugar, and she's always got her different doctors. So it's kind of cool to see how she's handled it as she's gotten more mature since I've known her.